Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round number 15 of the Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentis. I'll be taking you through proceedings once again in Division 3, and joining me back in the commentary booth this week, of course, is Jess, who's been here all season long. Jess, how are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing fantastic today. We're getting the buzz of United States fee because obviously in real life, Miami is hosting its first Formula One Grand Prix, and we're here tonight in Canada, which is first used in Formula One in 1978, and it's played host to many great races in the past, such as 2011 when we saw Jenson Button, I believe, make 6 pit stops, and he still went on to win the race, which shows that you do not give up there. And well, we've got 5 drivers still in championship contention, but with Brent not scoring any points last time out with 0 points, he's pretty much out of it unless he gets a second place with Tope not scoring. And even if Tope finishes 7th or lower, Brent must win. So he really needs to get his best result of the season in order to do this. But for everybody else, it's pretty much game on. But we could see people go out of contention if they have a bad result tonight.
Yeah, we're getting right into the latter stages of the season now, aren't we? This is the third to final round. We'll have 2 rounds to go after this one, so we really are going to be narrowing down the majority of the championship runners coming into this final 2 rounds. Let's run you through then what the championship standings look like after Budapest. Of course, with his 5th podium in a row and his 4th top 2 finish in a row, Tope last time out picking up second is now leading the championship by 13 points at the moment, ahead of Rikurik, who's dropped into second place, having not been on the podium since the round at the Ibo Autodrome back a few rounds ago. He is only 1 point ahead of Luke, who is currently in third after his second win of the season last time out. RJ only picking up 1 point last time out, his worst finish since the Austrian Grand Prix, which was his only non-score of the season. So not the time that RJ would have wanted last time out. Brent then, like you said, no score last time. That's 2 rounds in a row. He's not scored points. He needs a miracle tonight to keep himself within the championship hunt. And he is slowly being closed in on from behind by Dari, who's currently in 6th on 97 points, and Rex, who picked up another podium last time out. He is now up to 7th in the championship. Bunty is in 8th, ahead of Old School 9th, and Cam K rounds off the top 10 as he continues his point-scoring runs this season. And looking at the rest of the championship, probably about 6 or 7 rounds ago, we were talking about this being a two-way fight between Rikurik and RJ, but in the last 4 or 5 rounds or so, the momentum has completely swung in the favour of Tope and Luke, hasn't it?
Well, I was watching the race last week. Luke had a very good performance as well as Tope. They had some very good battles as well. And those were the two that were the strongest in the changeable conditions. Of course, it was wet to dry race in Hungary. And I know Hungary always provides some great entertainment when it comes to that as well. And with the no DRS in the wet as well, it just allowed people that were strongest in the wet to succeed. And we saw ones that could be in a championship contention start to struggle a little bit, the likes of Brent as well. So with Tope, this is his 5th podium in a row. He scored podiums from Belgium, Ibo Autodrome, Zandvoort. He got a win in China, don't forget his first win, and then he got second in Hungary as well. And then obviously Luke, I believe it's his first win of the season actually as well. Actually, no, he's got 2 wins. His first win was in Zandvoort as well. So he could match everybody else in the championship and see if he can get another win tonight, but he doesn't need to. But there's got to be a situation where it could be a 2-horse fight by the end of tonight. But it's great to see more than 2 people fight for the championship, I have to say. It's nice to see Luke up there and Rikurik as well. Big improvements for them this season.
Yeah, it's really nice to see, like you say, and we talk about consistency so far this season. Tope has had 2 DNSs this season. In all of the other races, he's finished no lower than 7th in a race. And in Luke's races, he's had 3 DNSs this season. Only once in the 11 races that Luke has attended has he finished outside of the top 4. That just goes to show how consistent Luke has been this season. And without those DNSs, you could probably say that he would be the favourite right now. But we're going into tonight, Canada. You mentioned, of course, we've had many a crazy race around this track. Probably one of the best races of all time in Formula One took place here in 2011. And this track is pretty difficult, isn't it? It's really, really difficult for a multitude of reasons. The barriers are very close. It is a temporary street circuit, so it's kind of commonplace now to see a mix of street and purpose-built circuit put together. This is one of those tracks. But also, it's difficult in terms of tyre management as well, and difficult for track limits. So I imagine we're going to see a lot of drivers making mistakes tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to say, it's made up of very quick chicanes after straight sections as well. And we've seen in the past in LOE and in other leagues as well, a lot of people get time penalties around it. They're not careful. So expect to see people who do not get time penalties get rewarded tonight as well. With only 17 drivers, that should really help them with the matter as well. And it is quite a short track, one of the shortest tracks. We could see times within the 1 minute 9 potentially tonight as well. Potentially it's 4.3 kilometers long, 14 turns, 6 to the left, 8 to the right. And there's also 3 DRS zones as well. There's pretty much most of them follow directly after each other, as I'm on board with Charlie at the moment on his outlap, and there's one just after the hairpin, and then we got one at the start finish straight, and then we've got one just after coming up to turn 7 into turn 8 as well. So those are the main overtaking opportunities tonight, but we have seen people usually tend to bin it in the Wall of Champions as well, in many a day as well. That's why it's obviously called the Wall of Champions, because many champions have binned it there, including certain LOE champions, believe it or not, in any division. As Charlie, unfortunately, invalidates his run in the final corner, which we'll see a lot of people invalidate tonight, and because he invalidated in the final corner, he invalidates this run as well. So he's not got to a good start already, has he?
Yeah, not off to a good start, but like you say, we're going to see that be pretty commonplace this evening. We're going to see a lot of drivers doing that. So we'll ride with Rex. He's the first person on a lap. He's on the medium compound tyre, and immediately there, just a bit of understeer into the turn 3 and 4 chicane. Just not quite hitting the apex on the inside. 19.5 for the first sector. Look for a 19 flat, I would say, to be the best first sector. Through that quick chicane of turn 6 and 7, down the back straight. Darry has already retired. That's in the pit lane. As we head down towards the 8 and 9 chicane, probably the most difficult corner in terms of track limits we'll see this evening. Heads out of the corner quite nicely, does Rex, and then down towards the turn 10 hairpin. We've seen obviously many a crash here. Kubica's horrible crash in 2007, back in the days where the tarmac at this corner used to break up every weekend and they have to use to remove the tarmac for the race. That is not the case anymore as they head down the back straight then through the kink of turn number 12, which isn't really a corner, and down this back straight then. Only one detection point for the 2 straights here, so if you get it and pass on the way into chicane, you can keep the DRS down the pit straight through the final chicane then. Really easy to invalidate on the inside of both of those parts, but Rex nice and neat, not pushing the boundaries of the track limits. He does a 9.7 for the first time on the board on the medium compound tyre, which is not bad, but we will see times probably dipping into the high 1 minute 8s, maybe the mid 1 minute 8s by the end of the session, especially those on the soft compound tyre. Speaking of those on the softs, here comes Taupe towards the line, our championship leader, and his first time on the board, a 9.4, interestingly only 0.3 of a second faster than Rex on a harder set of tyres, which is fairly interesting to see. And we might see a lot of people do 2 runs on the tyre because you can get just enough fuel out to do 2 runs in this session. So far, Taupe at the top. We're still yet to see times from other people, of course, but that's not a particularly strong start to the session for our championship leader. You probably would have expected him to be over half a second, probably 7/10 clear of the lead medium runner by now.
Yeah, I'm almost certain about that. So we may see 108 potentially as well if we see people in the 109 on the mediums as well. And there goes Brent coming across the line into P2. So yeah, I wonder if Taupe just struggled a little bit there, probably towards the middle sector, because that's where I've seen a few people struggle in the past as well. As we've got RJ coming across the line in 3rd. Now, RJ pretty much is over Kurik, currently P2 in the championship, 109.4 on the mediums. Now, if you start on the mediums, it could be a game changer. In most games on the F1s, we've seen people do the 2-stop, but I have seen in other leagues as well where the 1-stop is possible, but in most races the 2-stop is faster. But you can do the softer mediums and make it work, but it's an absolute nightmare otherwise. So if Kurik starts on this race on the mediums, that could be amazing for him at the moment. We've got Maverick, who's going through into, I think, turn 7. Now, he's purple sector 1. This is unusual for Maverick as well. He's had some bad luck this season, hasn't he, as he heads towards turn number 8 as well. Oh, as he almost hit the wall there, he's lost a bit of time there. So I think he's not going to probably jump a little bit, but at least he's beaten probably a few invalidated laps. We'll have to wait and see. He's still got the final corners to go as well. We're starting to see more people struggle. We've got Cam, who's also binned it, all moved out of the way from someone else as well, and we're seeing Cam, who's on 2 lap on soft as well, but we'll see what his teammate can do. He's going to lose a lot of time already going into the final corner as well. He aimed to the right as well, so he avoid invalidation as well. He didn't clip the Wall of Champions, which is great to see. So what can he do? 109.1, pole position, so I'm sure it would have been the 108 if he didn't graze the wall in turn 8.
Yeah, without that mistake, there definitely would have been in the eights, like you say. So good start to the session for Maverick, and he's half a second clear of the next soft runner at the moment. Actually, no, sorry, that's a lie. That's 3/10 clear because Tope is on the softs, but he's gone back out on the medium compound tire. But yeah, strong start to the session for Maverick in the Red Bull. Like you say, he's not had the run of results he would have wanted this season. Moved up from Division 4 last season, was the runner-up in the D4 Championship, and it's fair to say this season has not gone his way whatsoever. Maverick currently 6 down in 16th in the Championship, only on 21 points. The last time he scored points was Belgium, which was 5 rounds ago, and he only finished 12th in that race. So yeah, he's not had a good run of form as of recently, so this could be a good change of pace, hopefully, for the Red Bull driver. Luke's done a couple of laps on his medium tyres, but he's only been able to get a 9.7 as his best run so far. He's going again, though, on the same set, so he's definitely got a bit of fuel in that car. Still, though, that time from Rekurik holding up strong on the mediums. Do you think there's the potential? We know we've got 2 drivers out of the lobby already. We know that this track is very difficult for invalidations, and it can be difficult for people to keep it on the track and not crash in qualifying. Could we potentially see somebody qualify inside the top 10 on a set of mediums today?
I'm almost certain about it as well, because the pace will be so close due to the fact how short this lap is as well, and the delta is not that far in between the softs and the mediums as well, which means it could be more of an undercut strategy for these drivers as well, and these mediums can stretch out a little bit long as well. So if they want to go on 2 or 3 lap old mediums, they can. And then we may see people go on 1 lap mediums to start with, and then later on go on a scrub set and then see what he could do as well. Maybe some people may not go on the mediums until the end, get a bit of a sighter on the soft compound tyres as well. And yeah, the mediums, I have driven in practice around here, around Canada. The mediums feel pretty good actually around here on race trim as well, so if you can make them last, that'll be an absolute lifesaver as well. And I believe that's what Tope is doing at the moment on these medium tyres as well, so he's thinking a similar situation as what other people. Oh no, he's invalidated, as a lot of people have been doing in turn 8. Well, he could go again because obviously tyre deck on the mediums is not too bad around here. Could last quite a while. Rex, last week's podium sitter, a 108.9. First man into the 108s right now. We're seeing more people across the line as well. We've got hopefully Charlie, who will be setting a lap as he heads towards the final corner. Let's see if he doesn't invalidate this time, which he does not. It looks pretty comfortable at the moment, but not as comfortable as everybody else. P14 for him at the moment. We've got Parrot, who's on its out lap at the moment, and we've got, I think, Bunty just about to start his run as well. So Rex is definitely improving this season, and it is showing in qualifying at the moment. I think he could be up there challenging for pole if he's not careful, because Tope's not up there. He's struggling, and obviously Rekurik, he's only in 3rd position.
Yeah, at the moment looking good for Rex. Like you say, he's had a couple of really strong results as of recently. He's just on board with White Hawaii. He was 9/10 up on his lap, but he's completely missed the braking zone for the final chicane, and that's going to have ruined his time. And there you go. He only gains 3/10 of 1 position as a result of that. That was in multiple drivers missing their braking point for that final chicane and really ruining their run. Rekurik is a couple of tenths up through the middle sector. Of course, his best time on the medium, so he is now onto the softs for the first time in this session, and he heads up towards the line. This should be provisional pole, not quite. An 8.9 goes just behind Rex, is further behind. Old School goes into P4 on his second run on that same set of soft compound tyres, but still quite a spread in the front of the field. We've got the top 2 in the 108.9s. Maverick kind of in no man's land in 3rd, but we know he's got more potential in that car. And then it's a 3/10 gap back to the next car in 4th, which is the McLaren of Old School. Charlie's just crossed the line and gone P8 on his 3rd lap on the medium compound tyres. Brent's on a lap now as well on the softs. His best time is on the mediums, a 109.5. He is 2/10 up by the end of the second sector. So a lot of drivers weirdly not finding a lot of time from the medium to the soft compound tyre. Would have expected maybe half a second, maybe 6/10 of a second difference, but at the moment people are only finding 2 or 3 tenths difference between the 2 compound tyre, which is very, very bizarre. We'll ride with Brent towards the end of the lap to see what he can do. I think Marty's just starting a lap in front of him. Around the final corner comes the AlphaTauri, throws it through the chicane nicely, and up towards the line comes the AlphaTauri. 5th in the championship, crosses the line, found another 10th in the final sector, but still that gap between the top 2 and the rest of the field. Nobody else in the 1minute 8s yet. Maverick is only half a tenth up by the end of the second sector, so he's not found a lot of time in the middle part of the lap, considering the mistake he made on the first run. We'll watch him to the line. This should put him probably back into 3rd position. No, it doesn't. He lost time in the final sector. So interestingly, Maverick not able to improve, and still the top 2 quite comfortably clear of the rest of the field at the moment.
And that is bad news for the likes of Tope and Luke and RJ, the nearest championship contenders to Rekurik as well, because this could be his advantage as well. If people start to make mistakes, Rekurik can capitalise, and he could take the lead of the championship tonight, potentially, if Tope does bad. Tope's on the softs now. I think he decided the mediums were a no-go. He may have a go at the mediums a little bit later on, but we'll see how he does heading towards turn 1, 2 and 3 as well. I'm sure he's got a bit of hunger in himself, knowing that he didn't get his best lap on the mediums. But him starting on the softs won't be too bad as well, as that was almost an invalidation for him. Look at how committed he was through turn 4 as well. Without the invalidation, you just got to plant your car at the right time, and already he is purple in the first sector. He's definitely pushing right now in that Williams there. We've got the 2 Red Bulls working together. We've got, I think, Mavericks on it. Is in lap and Cam's on an out lap. Just my bad at the moment. So Tote's one of the only people on a lap, as well as Chill as well. I think Chill will be the first one to come up, but we've seen Tote purple in the middle sector as well. So it's looking like Tote will become provisional pole at the moment, but Chill will come up to the line first. He's currently 14th. Can he go any higher than that? Will he go into the top 10? We'll find out right now. It is a 109.6 P11, so we'll jump on board with Tope as he heads towards the final corner as well. Very, very fast for him. Surely it will beat Rex. Surely it'll be in the 108.8 potentially as well. Nope, it's not. He missed out on the final sector. He wasn't even purple in the final sector. He lost out so much time to the likes of obviously McCurrick and Rex there. So if he didn't lose out that time in the final sector, he would have been pole for sure. So that is what he's got to work on his final run later on.
Yeah, he didn't look very committed to the curb on the inside of the first part, so maybe that is where the time is being lost, unfortunately, for Tope in that section. It's still Rex then on provisional pole from Recurric, Brent, Maverick and Tope, your top 5. As it stands, championship leader Tope in 5th, 2nd in the championship, 2nd on the road, 3rd in the championship, 7th at the moment, with RJ down in 10th currently. And RJ, just like Brent, needs a good result tonight. He's just kind of growing distant from this championship fight, 38 points off the championship lead. He needs a good result tonight to stand him in good stead for the final 2 rounds, as pretty much everybody is back into the pits now waiting for their final runs. I think one of the first people to start their final runs is Old School. He's out there currently on his own at the moment. He'll only have the Ferrari of Charlie in front of him, who's just started an outlap. So we'll ride with the McLaren to see what Old School can do. Not been the best of seasons, unfortunately, for Old School this season. He's picked up a couple of podiums, well, 3 podiums to be exact, actually. He's picked up 3 podiums, but beyond that, has not really had the season he would have wanted. Through the first sector then, as he heads up towards the first sector split, and he's found a 10th and a half in the first sector. So good first sector from Old School. We'll see where he can go throughout the rest of the lap. Of course, his best lap was set on the second run on that set of soft compound tyres. He's given himself enough time to do 2 runs on the tyre, but if he doesn't have to, then you probably shouldn't have to do that. He won't have to do another run if this first run is good enough. Through the second sector split comes the McLaren then, and he is now 3.5 tenths up. So Old School finding a good amount of time on this lap. This could challenge for the second row as it stands, all depending on his final sector. If he can get a bit more time in the final sector, could he be the next person to get into the 1 minute 8s in this session then? Up, down that back straight then, DRS open, keeping it in the middle of the road. Shortest run down that back straight and up towards the line comes the McLaren, late braking into that final chicane, hops over the curbs nicely, but slams the wall on the outside of the wall of champions. That's going to have cost him a bit of time. It's a 109 flat. He goes 4 tenths faster. He's still found time, but you've got to say there's still more time on the board, considering the fact that he completely obliterated that wall and somehow got away with it.
I think he would have been pole. If he didn't hit that wall. And usually it's about 3 attempts that you lose out, or even 4 attempts just hitting that wall. So that was a very good lap from Old School before then as well. Charlie is also on a run. Well, he was on a run before he invalidated once again. So Pat will be going on a run now at this moment in time as well, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. I wonder if people are going on 2 runs on the soft car. I think we've seen it with most drivers. Tyre warm-up is a big issue around here as well, due to the fact there's a lot of high-speed corners as well, and not many braking zones to warm up your tyres potentially as well. So I think that people may just be comfortable with doing that. And if they want to go on soft twice in this race, then it's pretty much not a bad idea. Maybe on your first stint, if you qualify inside the top 10, maybe do the fewest laps on the sauce for the undercut, or you may want to stretch your mediums out for a bit longer potentially if you want to do your one stop. So here we go. Parrott goes into the final sector hairpin as well, so we'll see how he manages to cope this final bit of the track with a DRS. Like we said, 1 detection zone as well, which he nailed quite well indeed. Yellow flag in sector 2. That's just people moving out of the way for their final runs. Final corner they go. Let's see if Parrott does not graze the wall, which he does not, which is great to see. And can he get higher than his teammate? It is a P1. 108.802, a bad 10th quicker than obviously Rex in P2. That is amazing, I've got to say. I've been watching on board with his lap. He could have still gained a bit more time, but he was pretty happy with it as well. Can anyone beat that? I still think it's beatable.
It does. I think it is definitely beatable. Who will beat it? I don't know. I'm looking towards Rex, though. I think will probably be the one that will be the most likely to challenge. Taupe had just started a run, but he is invalidated again. So Taupe not having the best of sessions so far, down in 7th place. Maverick has started his next run in the session, so we'll ride with him through the first sector split, but he's already 0.3 of a second down. So this is not going to be an improvement for the Red Bull man on this lap. Rex has just started his run now, is heading through turn number 1.
Invalidated.
Yeah, invalidated. Luke is on a time at the moment, and Luke is 0.3 of a second up on his time, but he'll still need to find 2.5 tenths in the final sector to put himself onto provisional pole. But can Luke put himself back towards the front of the field in this quali session? It's been a bit invisible in the session so far, has Luke? Like I said, apart from one race, every race he's attended, he's finished inside the top 4, so he wouldn't want to break that streak at this point in the championship as he heads into the final chicane. Not committed enough in the first part and invalidates on the second part. So Luke's time not going to count as he crosses the line. What would have been an 8.925 would have put him third, but he's invalidated at the final time of asking. And because he invalidated there, it's invalidated his next run. So he will probably not have really much time left in this session to improve. So Luke really in an uncomfortable situation at the moment in this session. Maverick's found more time in the middle sector, but he's still pushing on this lap despite having a bad first, which I find a little bit interesting. I would have thought he would have backed off and gone again on the same set of tyres. What is RJ doing in the McLaren? He's 0.3 of a second up as he crosses the line, but it's only enough to go 9th for RJ. RJ not really featuring at the front of the field in this qualifying session. That drops Luke outside of the top 10 now and into a more favourable position in the race. Rex has crossed the line and it's obviously is invalidated, so he's started his next run. Rick has just started behind as well, but at the moment no one really coming close to Parrott. Brent through the second sector is only 0.5 tenth up, so that's not going to be enough to even move him up a spot.
And he slid a little bit going into the hairpin as well, so I think that'll be it for Brent, unless he can go again like I said. I think we got Alfa Romeo that's just gone past him. I think that's Chill. Yeah, that's Chill. He's on his outlap at the moment. And I did see someone move up a position as well. That is Taupe. He's moved up to 3rd. And he was purple in the final sector as well, but he's backing off on that final lap. So Rex won't get pole position at the time being, so they'll be up to Recurrent and Rex to see what they can do, or anyone else for that matter as well. We'll keep an eye on to see what RJ can do. Pat is the only man who's on pole position right now. Bunty can only manage 10th. RJ is his nearest rival. Can he get higher than that? We will see. No, he's not. He's diving it in to the pit lane. We've got Alpine up to the line. That is Rex. He is invalidated again, so he'll stay in P2. Recurrent 4th for the moment. Will he displace Pat and take pole position? Up to the line he goes. No, he can't. 108.896, just under a tenth shy of Parrott right now. Old School has invalidated. YHYY could only manage P13. And Luke actually managed to find time to go again, but he's only almost a tenth up. He's not even 3 tenths up yet at the moment, so I don't think it's going to be enough for pole position. Cam has invalidated. Chill is on his final run. He's only about a few 100s up at the moment, and he was a bit squirmy coming into that final corner, so I don't think it's going to be a good lap at all. No, but it's not. He remains in P15, and Luke's not going to improve either, and Cam's invalidated, but he's going to see what he could do anyway, but it's not going to be enough anyway. So Parrott, then, I believe it is his first pole position of the season, and Recurrent quite close in the top 15, separated by just under 9 tenths per second. It's pretty good going.
Yeah, pretty good going in the end, and Recurrent would have potentially taken pole. He was a tenth and a half up by the end of the second sector. He lost time in that final sector, so the commitment maybe through that final chicane not enough from Recurrent, and that cost him. Rex, by the way, was on, without that invalidation, for an 8.6. Rex would have comfortably taken pole position. However, that invalidation has cost him big time, and he's now onto the second row of the grid. So look out for him in the race. He could be a real star in this race if that is his true pace and performance this evening. We'll keep an eye on that one. So let's run you through the full qualifying order then. It's an all Finnish front row, and it's Parrott on pole position for the first time this season in the Ferrari, ahead of Recurrent, second in the championship, second on the grid. Rex in third. Taupe ends up in fourth in the end, which is a good recovery from him considering he was fairly invisible for most of that qualifying session. Old School in fifth, one of his better qualifyings of recent memory, ahead of Brent in sixth. Maverick, who had the potential at the start but crashed on his final run and lost fastest front wing, so we don't really know the pace of that Red Bull either. Marty in 8th ahead of RJ 9th and Bunty rounding off the top 10. Luke 3rd in the championship, 11th on the grid, but he will lead those on the alternate strategy ahead of Camke, Waichawai, Charlie, Chill, and then Mats and Darry, the final 2 on the grid, not setting times in that session. Interestingly, Charlie never going out and improving on his medium run, and his medium run was fairly competitive. So both Ferraris, it seems, at the moment, they may have split their strategies, but both Ferraris looking pretty strong, it seems, going into this race.
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget, we still got the constructors to think about as well, and that could be quite an interesting factor. Even though Ferrari, I don't think, are in the constructors fight as well. But I think we're going to start to see people that are not in the Drivers' Championship really start to focus on the constructors as well and play more of a team game, which you can do around Canada as well. And I think, well, with the Ferraris starting close to each other as well, it may compromise in terms of pit stops as well, because the undercut obviously is so powerful. And anyway, team standings, Ferrari's only in 7th position, and they could pretty much get clear of Alpine if Alpine have a bad day as well. But Williams are leading on 275, Aston Martin 262. Darry will need a good result as well, so will Tote if he keeps up his consistent form. And we've been informed by the drivers that it's going to be a dry session, no rain involved, which is quite surprising because usually I do see rain around Canada every time I commentate, so that's a bit of a shock, to be honest. But it is great to see that the drivers will have a dry setup as well. So what will the top people outside the top 10 go for? I don't know. I think most people will be going on the mediums, but I won't be too surprised if some people dive in on the soft highs and get the softs out of the way. But we do know how powerful the undercut could be, so we could see quite a mixture. Everyone, though, outside the top 10 has gone for the medium tyres, so pretty much a split strategy for everybody, which to be honest, not too surprised. I thought someone would have gone for the soft to be bold, but no, they want to go for the alternate strategy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised really by that one, the fact that we've got a lot of people on the medium compound tyres. Like you say, there's a real mix of strategies here this evening. So we could see people doing the 2-stop, soft, medium, medium, soft, medium, soft, maybe if you've saved a set of softs in qualifying, or you could do the 1-stop from the medium soft or the soft medium. Kind of really depends on what you prefer and how good your tyre wear is. If you think you've got good tyre wear throughout the race, then why not try the 1-stop? Of course, if you do the 1-stop as well, that can benefit you if there's a late safety car, because you could be a pit stop ahead of your main rivals, and that could definitely help you out if you can pit under that safety car period at the end of the race then. So looking forward to this race. Of course, Parrott's on pole position, and Parrott's not been at the front of the field this season. He's fairly new to this championship, it's fair to say, is Parrott at the moment. He's only competed in 2 races this season. He finished 6th in one of them and DNF the other. But beyond that, championship-wise, going into this race, Tope not looking too bad. However, we saw in qualifying, it took him a long time to get up to speed, and he invalidated on a number of occasions. So maybe on first glance, it could be advantage for Kurik in this race.
Yeah, because it seems to me Kurik is a little bit more consistent in terms of his runs and not getting penalties at the moment. And we know with Tope in tracks where you can get penalties, he tends to pick up a lot of them. So, and if there's a safety car, then he's pretty much in deep trouble. So he's probably praying in his mind that there'll be no safety cars tonight, and then he'll be in a good position to pretty much get in to the podium spots. Well, he's pretty much safe anyway in terms of the championship fight. So if he gets a bad result tonight, does Tope, then it is not over. He'll still have a few more rounds to go after this one. I believe we'll have Brazil and Abu Dhabi after Canada as well. So not very long at all. But I literally can't call it. But yeah, I have to agree with Kurik is my favourite for this one as well. But don't count a few other people out like Tope and Rex. Maybe he could get another podium. We'll have to wait and see. But I want to see Parrott do well as well with his first pole position of the season and in Eloise too. So everyone has made their way onto the grid, so we should get started.
Here we go then. Yeah, let's get ready for the lights to come on ahead of the drivers. It's a short run to turn 1, and it's Ferrari versus Haas. Lights are out fairly quickly, and away they go. Looks a fairly even start, but Kurik maybe has got the better start of the 2, and straight away, off the line, Kurik around the outside is into the lead. Rex put onto the grass a little bit on the outside of turn 1 by the Ferrari. That's going to leave him under pressure from Tope through turn 2, but it looks like Rex is just going to hold on to the position as further down. Luke already on the move, passing Bunty coming out of turn 2. And we've got Marty facing the wrong way coming out of turn number 2. I don't know if that was contact or whether there was another, or whether he just spun on his own, but that is a virtual safety car very early on because there was debris all over the road from Marty's spin. And yet again, the Alpine of Marty is involved in an early incident in a race. It's just been a horrid season for Marty. Only 14 points to his name this entire season. It continues to go backwards for him. And yeah, it's just been a horrible start once again for the Alpine.
Marty was very unlucky last week as well. He tried to stay out on the intermediate tyres, thinking it would be enough, and then obviously everyone else pitted and everyone else went past him on the fresh soft compound tyres as well, and he dropped down to pretty much almost outside the points, to be honest. So he was very unlucky in terms of strategy last week, and in terms of pretty much pace and bad luck, it's just not going his way at the moment as Chill does get past Charlie in the other Ferrari, but Parrott not having the best of getaways, but Recurrit definitely is at the moment. We'll expect to see a few warnings at the moment. Rex goes into the pit. So both Alpines then having problems. Or does Rex want to get one of his first stops nice and early? We'll see. He has got a front wind change. So yeah, it is a pit stop, which he did not want to make as well. So he'll be stretching the mediums for a very long time, or he may do a medium stint, to be honest. He has no other choice, but let's hope he has another medium stint left to go at the moment. No major changes elsewhere there as well. Old School's had a good start. So has Brent. Toby's made his way up into third place after the two Alpines escapades as well. So this could be good news for him as well as he tries to close on to the back of Parrott heading towards turn 8.
Yeah, fairly good start from a lot of people in this field. Luke especially as well on those medium tyres, up 3 places into 8th position. So good start for him on that alternate strategy. And yeah, I think Rex picked up that damage on the outside of turn 1 when he tried to go around the outside of Parrott, and Parrott kind of put him on the grass. I think there was a little bit of contact. That's probably where he's picked up the damage. So yeah, a lot of these drivers, well, 14th backwards, will be hoping for some sort of safety car in this race to bring them back into contention. It's Recurrick then that leads, but of course, as is with the way of the game, it's pretty much impossible to drop DRS from drivers behind. So Recurrick at the moment not pushing that hard to try and do that. Parrott just behind. We'll keep an eye, of course, on penalties as well as they come in, and we'll see who is struggling the most to keep the car on the road. One person who's looking pretty fast is Brent in P5 up behind the McLaren of Old School, close to the back. DRS is now enabled, but Brent not quite close enough to make a move on Old School into turn 1. And of course, the braking zones, there's only really one heavy braking zone for this track, and that is turn 10 hairpin, which isn't really an overtaking opportunity. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for drivers to overtake without DRS around this track, but Old School potentially could be losing DRS on this lap, as could Parrott. Parrott's not looking too strong in the first sector of this lap. Recurrick's trying to pull the gap, but the DRS down that straight towards turn number 8 may have brought him back into contention once again. Same with Old School in 4th position. We'll see if anybody's close enough to make a move down the straight. Doesn't look like it. Old School's been saved for at least a lap as Camke gets past Bunty, actually. So Camke, the next driver on the alternate strategy, past Bunty on those medium tyres, suggesting to me that already drivers are starting to struggle on these softs.
I'm a bit shocked about that. I wonder if Bunty's got a bit of damage, but Bunty is starting to fight back, and he's got the overtake mode as well, and he's got the DRS as well, so you have the DRS here and in the final corner as well, so he's going to take to the right-hand side as well as Cam closes the door very nicely, heading into the final corner as well, but Bunty could try and go for the move into turn 1. We're starting to see the fastest lap galore at the moment as people try to improve on their pace already as we head towards turn number 1 then. So both the medium runners of Luke and Cam doing decent, but it's not about where you start and where you are now, it's where you finish, and the crossover point will start to come very, very soon, and if people on the 2-stop may be pitting in about a few laps time, lap 5, 6 or lap 7 to go on to a set of the medium compounded tyres at the moment. And with this big DRS train, there's hardly going to be any overtakes at the moment unless heading towards the hairpin or potentially towards turn 8. Tope not being able to get past Parrott, and neither is Parrott on Recurrick. I think Parrott has the best of chances, but Recurrick's just too fast at the moment. He's doing a really good job, and he's doing much better with his battery at the moment. The person who's not doing better with his battery, he's Old School. He was on 38% a moment ago, and he's already falling back from Topa just a little bit. But with the train so big, that will allow Old School to catch up, and Tope almost got Parrott there at the moment. He's good on traction then. As we head towards his back straight, he's going to take the right-hand side line. He may do the same to what Cam did, does Parrott, and he does. And that's allowing Tope to stay behind, but Parrott got compromised there into the final corner there. He wasn't paying attention as we head towards turn 1 then. Can he do a dive around the inside? Nope, he doesn't with Tope, as Tope stays in P3 for now. You don't want to be fighting too much because Old School is there to pounce.
Yeah, Old School there to pounce, like you say, but Tope maybe starting to get a little bit impatient behind that Ferrari, who just seems to struggle in the middle part of the lap compared to the Haas in front, and Tope does seem to have a bit more speed at this point in the race. Further down the field, first time penalty on the board for Rex in 14th position, and Charlie quickly follows that as he's overtaken by Chill a bit further down the field. But yeah, top 7, all the soft runners at the moment. Lead medium runner still Luke in 8th position, sitting comfortably, waiting for the soft runners to pit. If you're going to do a 2-stop, now is probably the earliest you can pit pit onto a set of mediums if you want to do a soft, medium, soft in this race. You can do soft, medium, medium pretty much from any point on the soft compound tyre. Kind of depends really on what you want to do, what you prefer. So we could see some drivers maybe towards the back of this soft train come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. I'm looking to RJ and Bunty to be the ones maybe to pull the trigger. They seem to be struggling just a little bit at the back of the train as they head down this back straight. Bit of a deceiving pit entry because you don't brake for the final corner. You go flying into the pit lane, but this time around, nobody into the pit lane. They're all staying out for the time being. It is a DRS train all the way down to Darry in 13th position at the moment. Nobody inside the top 13 has lost touch with this DRS train just yet. So it's all level playing field pretty much at the moment, just waiting for either a driver to make a mistake or for other drivers to come into the pit lane. And if you're someone like RJ and Bunty, you've got to think they're a little bit out of position compared to the people on the same strategy as them. They've got to try something different and come in maybe a bit earlier.
They're 4 tenths behind the likes of Maverick and Brent, and then they've got 4 tenths ahead between Luke and Cam as well. So the mediums are really starting to come into their own. So RJ, I think, is going to lose so much time by just staying out because of the traffic at the moment. So, and he's not even using his ERS as well, so he's not gaining enough time. So maybe he's not too comfortable compared to everybody else. Maverick is very, very comfortable at the moment as well, but he doesn't seem to be getting past Brent, but we'll see what he could do. I think he's showing his pace he would have shown in qualifying if he didn't invalidate. 3 penalties so far. Let's hope he doesn't get one of them as DRS is enabled. I'm seeing if anyone is going to dive it in to the pits. The top two's not. Neither is Tope, neither is Old School, Brent, Maverick. RJ is coming in like we said, and I wonder if Bunty's going to do the same thing. No, he does not. So RJ, the only soft runner coming in, and it's definitely going to be a 2-stop for him. He's onto the medium tyres, no damage for him as well. Let's hope he goes into some clean air and he'll be able to produce the best outlap he can to try and get ahead of the ones that pitted as well. But there may be some people going for the 1-stop, so they won't be pitting just yet.
Yeah, he should come out just ahead of Rex, but the fact that Rex has actually closed in that much despite a wing change in his pit stop is kind of proving the pace that Rex had on that medium compound tyre, that he's been able to nullify almost the effect of a wing change in a pit stop in about 4 laps. That's pretty searing pace from Rex. Down in 14th position, RJ will be pretty happy to be just ahead of the Alpine, I would say, in that one, although Rex could have the opportunity to go at and attack maybe the McLaren at this point in the race. Now it's a wait and see if anybody reacts to that pit stop of RJ. Like you say, that is pretty much putting him onto a 2-stop in this race. You could get the mediums to the end from there. They won't have any pace though, so they won't be particularly fast at the end of the race. Does anybody respond to that pit stop then? We're looking to the likes of Maverick and Brent to maybe make the first moves. Luke immediately onto the back of Maverick in front of him as White Hawaii gets the move done on Bunty and up into 9th position. And well, half of the soft runners reacted to that pit stop then. Tope, Old School and Brent are all into the pit lane. Tope, though, the interesting one, he's going for the undercut on the 2 leaders in this race.
I'm quite surprised that Maverick didn't come in because he saw Brent dive it into the pits and he thought about it and thought, nah, I'm not going to do it. But he might have made a bit of a mistake for that. But he thinks he probably could do the best in that. We'll have to wait and see. And we're already seeing some battles going through, I think, in the midfield as well. So that could get pretty spicy as well. So Recurric's about 7 tenths on Parrot. And then we got Maverick 1.7 seconds as well. And the pit lane loss is pretty much the shortest on the calendar. Around 15 to 17 seconds as well. So if you get an ideal pit stop, you're probably going to be ahead of anyone compared to as well. So gap to leader, 17.7 seconds, and it's dropping. So it's almost guaranteed that Tope's going to be ahead of Recurric and Parrot as well. So Tope could be your race leader, but Recurric and Parrot has just got to gain around about a second in order to make sure they keep ahead of these guys then. So Recurric, I think they've got to respond, or will they aim for that 1-stop? We will see. As Recurric stays out, Parrot stays out, Maverick is in. A stop later than I would have thought, but he's going in anyway, as Chill gets a 3-second time penalty. And one thing to watch out for, speeding in the pit lane penalties is quite common because there's not much time to pretty much brake. So expect to see more speeding in the pit lane penalties tonight. Maverick hasn't got one, thank goodness, as well as Old School gets another one. He's rocking up with the penalties at the moment. Let's keep an eye on board with Tope as we head towards turn 1 as well. And we'll see if Tope can get ahead of his rivals then, and he does. So Tope is your net race leader at the moment. Old School in 2nd, Brent in 3rd, RJ in 4th. So McLaren's looking very good as well. And with Maverick staying out just a lap longer, Brent is ahead of him, and that is not good for Maverick.
No, not good for Maverick. He's been undercut as well by RJ. So RJ now upper place in this train and ahead of the Red Bull driver of Maverick, but Maverick does have fresher tyres underneath him, so we'll see if that benefit plays out for him later on in this race. Old School's time penalty won't be that much of an encouragement to the drivers directly behind him in this train. They'll want to try and get past Old School if they can. Tope in front is running a fairly low on ERS, but not too low. We'll look to the two race leaders. Are they deciding to come into the pit lane on this lap? No, they are not. This suggests to me that Rekurik and Parrott are going for the one-stop strategy. If they were going for the two-stop, they would have pitted and reacted by now to those that have come in. They've not done that. They're staying out, to me, for the one-stop strategy. The only problem with them staying out for the one-stop strategy is they've almost already been caught by Luke in the Aston Martin on the medium compound tyres. Luke was 8th, of course, before everybody made the pit stops. Now 3rd on the road and within DRS range of the person that was 2nd in that DRS train, and Kamke's following as well. So already the medium compound tyres, even 9-lap-old medium compound tyres, are much faster than the softs that Rekurik and Parrott are on.
Yes, indeed, and I think Luke could get them anytime soon as well. He's even got the DRS as well. That is key for the Aston Martin driver, and I think just a two-stop is faster. I know we see people try another leads for the one-stop, but we're already seeing people trying to catch in. And yes, I know the ones who have just pitted will have to do another stop eventually, but you're going to lose so much more time. And I think Rekurik and Parrott, I thought they were going to be quicker on the one-stop, but obviously not, but we'll see. Coming to the end, you never know, they may be quicker on the one stop. So I think Luke's not going to get them just yet. Rekurik and Parrott still staying out, so it's going to be eventuality of when Luke's going to get past them. I think it's not going to be a question of if, it's going to happen. We got a retirement, that's Darry, that's Tope's teammate. Not good for the constructors at all. And safety car, that's pretty much saved Rekurik and Parrott's bacon there.
Yeah,
look at that crash.
Yeah, Darry right in the middle of the road. I think by the looks of things, Darry and Bunty, I think, went side by side into that final chicane, which, of course, we know is not possible to do. Bunty continues on, but with another penalty and a broken front wing, Darry doesn't continue on at all. He is out of the race then in that Williams, and that is not good for Williams constructors-wise, of course, in this championship. Remember, Williams do lead the constructors going into this race, but only by 13 points over Aston Martin. So good opportunity here for Aston Martin now that they're down to one car, are Williams, in this race. And like you say, that is a good saving point for Rekurik and Parrott there. They're not going to lose anywhere near as much time with a pit stop here. In fact, they're probably going to still be ahead of the likes of Tope and Old School, especially considering the fact that right now, under safety car conditions, Tope and Old School are stuck behind Bunty, who has no front wing. So they're going to be well off the pace of the Delta without the opportunity to pass the Alfa Romeo because they're under safety car conditions. So Parrott and Rekurik here, in for a set of medium compound tyres, likely will still come out at the head of this train, which means those that are on the two-stop will have to make up a full pit stop in length of time back up on our net race leaders, rather than maybe half a pit stop that they would have gained in this net phase of the race. So, yeah, playing beautifully into the hands of Rekurik and Parrott has that safety car. They're both in. Of course, the medium runners behind as well. Luke and Kamke are in. Luke's put on another set of mediums. Kamke's gone for the hards, interestingly. So I don't know about that. We know the hard compound tyres in general on this game aren't a good tyre, but that at least allows him to go to the end of the race. YHY has done the same as well. Luke clearly two-stopping, and Luke has actually passed Parrott on the exit of the pit lane. Wow.
They're fighting even the safety car. Jesus, Luke was doing everything now. I don't think he was meant to do that, but the game is allowing to do so anyway. So Rekurik stays ahead, and Parrott, we thought he was going to benefit from that pit stop. He did not. So
wow.
That makes things a little bit more intriguing, to say the least, as well. Rekurik is ahead of his nearest rival of Tope, and then we got Luke as well. And with Brent and RJ out of the picture, we could have 3 championship contenders by the end of tonight as well. Obviously, we've got Brazil and Abu Dhabi coming up as well. More people that are coming into the pits. We've got Charlie, he's on a 2-stop. Bunty came in as well. Marty is staying out, which I'm questioning ever so slightly. And so is Chill. So one of those two are hoping for another safety car. I have seen about 2 or 3 safety cars, but safety cars are on reduced. It hardly ever happens around Canada, but I've said that about Hungary in a race that I did last week on reduced, and we had about 3 safety cars.
Yeah, exactly. Safety cars can be fairly common around this track. And crucially for Luke as well, that overtake on the exit of the pit lane, I don't know if that's legal, because they're technically not on the track, and we know that under safety car periods you can go flat out on pit entries and pit exits. So whether that counts as an overtake for Luke, I don't know. But what that has done has also put him ahead of Old School. Parrott's not only lost out to Luke, but is now behind the McLaren of Old School as well, who of course is on older tyres and has a penalty already in this race. So that is again another disadvantage that Parrott has in this race. And I don't know how, but no matter what the situation, we always seem to see Rekurik, Tope and Luke be the top three. That just seems to be the way of the world at the moment in Division 3. And no matter what happens in a race, this is how it seems to end up. And that is how it's looking at the moment. But Rekurik and Luke here, well, Rekurik especially, in a very good position. He does not have to stop again. Luke does have to stop again. But crucially for Luke, he has got 4 lap fresher tyres than everybody around him. And he is now at the head of the queue of those that need to two-stop in this race. So while he is not on possibly the best strategy in this race and isn't leading this race like Rekurik is...
He's not the worst.
Is not the worst, exactly. He's gained about 6 or 7 places in the train that he was already in and has fresher tyres. So he now will probably be the lead of those on that two-stop strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And we also got Parrott on the two-stop. He will be the second on that strategy as well. But yeah, I think sometimes starting on the softs will probably be the best idea, but people have got to gamble for safety cars and stuff like that. But you just got to trust your instincts. You've got to rely on people's driving styles. Does this division get safety cars? And the answer to that is yes. So that's probably those two we're banking on. But if there's divisions in LOE that hardly get any safety cars, then maybe the undercut would be the best idea. But anyway, safety car is in this lap, so we'll see what Rekurik can do. He's pretty much used to this right now. Let's see what he can do heading towards this back straight. And no DRS, remember, until a few laps time then. So we will probably see some a bit of crazy and creative overtakes at the moment as well. Fastest lap so far belongs to Tope at the moment in P2, so he will get the extra point if he stays there inside the top 12. So is he going to floor it? He's going to take a while, actually. I thought he was going to floor it now, but he's still weaving his tyres. And as soon as he accelerates, he's got to go, and it's go, go, go at the moment. And I think quite a lot of people got caught up by that, unless Tope has something to say on the mat. No, he does not, so Rekurik having the best of starts there at the moment. There's a bit of trouble in the background as RJ has had a bit of a moment with a few cars, and RJ's already dropped down to 12. This is not good for his championship hopes. Cam's up to 7th, Maverick's up to 8th, Matt's up to 9th, and RJ is just letting people through. So I wonder if he's got damage there from that contact. I'm just looking at his car.
He does, yeah.
It is less visible for me, but he must have lost his end plate or something like that. But Rekurik did what he needs to do, and he's got the race lead. Tope in second. Pretty much the top 3 remain unchanged. Old School remains unchanged as well. And yeah, we'll see some overtakes done soon. YHYY gets a penalty as well, and that's not good as well. Pretty much everyone from 10th downwards to 14th has got penalties. Same with Old School. Everyone else completely clean. But I'll check to see if anyone's on almost close to getting a penalty, because that could get interesting as Bungie gets cut past YHYY into the hairpin.
Yeah, trying to work his way back through what I remember on those hard compound tyres, so he's not going to have a lot of pace. Rex is the next person to have a run, but he's not close enough, and there's no DRS as of yet. RJ, by the way, caught up really in somebody else's incident. Brent tried to go for a move on the inside of Parrott at turn number 1. There wasn't the room, and Parrott kind of slid off, Brent kind of slid off the side of the Ferrari, and in him slowing down on the exit of the corner, it caught RJ out when he ran straight into the back of the AlphaTauri, which is why he's picked up the damage, and that could be game-changing for RJ's championship. If he's not able to get back in the points, and we finish as we are, that's championship over. I believe for RJ potentially in this round of the championship. He has to be within a 53-point gap of the championship lead to be able to fight for the championship, and as that would stand, I think that would put him 56 points behind the championship leader and out of contention. So he really, really needs another safety car to bring him back into contention in this race. Then Rekurik still leads, Tope behind, but Tope, remember, on 5-lap older tyres. Luke is on fresher tyres behind, but they're spreading out a little bit at the front of the field. It's 8 to 9 tenth gaps, which is kind of the biggest we've seen in a train so far in this race. One person, though, I think we've got to keep an eye on in this race is Camke. Camke, like Rekurik, doesn't have to pit again. He's used 2 sets of compounds in this race. He's on the hard compound tyre. Initially, they're not going to be all that fast. However, by the end of the race, his tyre degradation is not going to be as big. So he could be potentially a real threat by the end of this race.
And to be honest, his pace is not looking too bad. He's actually catching up to the likes of Brent and Parrott as well. And we did say the hards could struggle around here as well, but he wouldn't go on the hard tyres if he didn't knew he could do it, and he knows he can do it, and he's probably made the right decision for himself as well. And we've seen in a lot of chats on the calendar, I think, I'm trying to remember what track where the hards, I think, were the more viable option compared to the mediums as well, even though it was quite equal as well. We're seeing something similar here potentially as well. YHYY, I think, does YHYY need to stop again? I'm not entirely sure. I think he just needs to stop, and again, either needed to chill, so, but they're not doing it as well, but still they can climb up a little bit towards the end of this race as well. We've got Rex, who's trying to see if he can find a way past YHYY on much harder tyres, but to no avail, so it must be that Rex is struggling just to keep up at the moment, and he's not going to have DRS just yet as well. And we're seeing people go side by side. That's Bunty going side by side with Max into the hairpin as well, and they made contact quite a lot there as well, as Max has got a bit of damage. Yes, he has, and he's got no front wing, I don't think, so he'll be going in to the pits. Well, he has got a front wing, but not much for front wing at this moment in time, as Rex does get past YHYY, so I wonder if he has got some damage too. No, he does not. YHYY carries on, so Max is already having a horrific race, and he's just gone from bad to worse, so I wonder if he's going to park it and call it quits at the moment. Meanwhile, Charlie in 12th for the moment. He can get 11th if he gets past YHYY heading in towards turn 3. He does not, and still in that train as well, as Charlie was lagging a little bit on my screen there as well. That was a bit annoying there as well. It might just be my end. If it is, I'm sorry about that, but Charlie almost getting the head there. But not at the moment. Cam is dropping a little bit to Brent at the moment, but he is setting a bit of tyres, which could come affected later on in the race.
And he's letting his teammate through, which I was about to say might be the smart move for the Red Bull. Maverick on the faster tyre. Maybe let Maverick through and allow him to drag you along in this race. But the problem is that he's now let Bunty very close to the back of him, and Bunty's not afraid to go for a move. As down the inside of the hairpin goes Bunty. Can he make the move cleanly this time around? Yes, he can. He does make the move cleanly, and Bunty is up into 8th position in this race then. So Camke on those hards just starting to fall back. One crucial thing in this race, though, look at the gap at the lead. Rikurik has broken DRS very comfortably. Is 1.9 seconds back to Taupe in 2nd position, as Old School's had a moment out of the chicane, and that's going to allow Parrott to breeze on past and up into 4th position. Through goes the Ferrari, up a place on those fresher tyres. Luke on those fresher tyres as well, just starting to hound the back of Taupe as well for 2nd position. But Rikurik in the front doesn't have to make another stop in this race and is driving off into the distance. As it stands so far, this is playing beautifully for Rikurik in the lead of this race. 2.2 seconds is the gap. It's very rare we see a driver breaking a DRS train. We know he has a tyre advantage, but either way, that is some really good pace on the medium tyres from the Haasman.
Yeah, it is. I think he's going to be favourite at the moment as well. Let's see how many warnings he's got. Let me actually go on a warning hunt at the moment, as Rikurik has got no warnings at all. He is completely clean. Taupe, he's on 2 warnings, so he's 1 warning shy of getting a penalty. Luke's on 1 warning, and we got Parrott on 2 warnings. So a few people in this top 5 be in danger of getting a penalty if they're not careful, which is good news for Rikurik, who has none whatsoever as well. So he could save his tyres as well. He's pushing a little bit too much in certain corners, which could affect him towards the end of this race, but at least he doesn't have to stop again where the likes of Taupe do. So he's going to have a massive advantage at the end of this race, as Charlie gets past YHYY in a corner where you're not expecting to do so. You would expect to do it into turn number 1. That was very, very brave indeed from Charlie. Can YHYY get him back because he still has a DRS? Nope, he cannot. This is a huge DRS train from the likes of Bunty all the way down to the likes of Marty as well. Marty's back in this race. He can still get points. That just shows how safety cars can come back to pretty much save your race as well. Let's hope Marty doesn't get involved into another spin. We're almost on lap 20 out of 35 at the moment. Still, I think everybody's ready to start, but there's quite a few people that still have to make another stop in this race, because otherwise their tyres are not going to make it. Matt's at 1:11.1, just set the fast lap of the race. I don't know why he's gone on softs. I thought he would have gone on mediums till the end, but, you know, he probably knows something that we don't.
Yeah, potentially knows something we don't, or like potentially just going for that glory run of trying to get the fastest lap. Riding with Luke, though, Luke is definitely close enough to the back of Taupe to make a move this time around, and Taupe doesn't make it difficult at all. Luke breezes on past and up into 2nd position past the Williams. So can Luke now try and close back in on Rikurik in front? Rikurik is nearly half a second a lap faster than Taupe at the moment, and the majority of that time is being found in the first sector of the lap, interestingly, which is the shortest sector of the lap. So Rikurik seems very strong in the first half of this lap. Can Luke close back in? His tyres are the same age as our race leaders, so he's on the level playing field at least, as Maverick now with a time penalty in P7 in that Red Bull as he tries to close in on the back of Brent, who himself has become detached from this train of cars in front of him. Kamke still on those hard compound tyres. He's settled down a bit once again. He's got Rex right behind trying to close in but isn't close enough. Kamke though still without a penalty in this race, so he's looking still fairly solid despite having dropped a couple of places since the safety car restart. Then on this lap so far, Luke's not gained any time. In fact, he's still losing time to Rikurik, who just looks so fast in the middle and first part of this lap that he doesn't really have to worry about his straight line speed possibly being slow, because he's just pulling away so much in the middle part of the lap. At the moment, at least, nobody has an answer to Rikurik, and with 15 laps to go, if you want to go for another set of mediums, you can come in now, but surely if you're any of these drivers inside the top 5, you've got to come in about lap 24, 25 for another set of softs if you stand any chance of having the pace at the end.
Yeah, you got to, because otherwise Rikurik is going to pull away as well, and there will be no challenge whatsoever then, as we're starting to see people just drop back significantly on pace right now. But Charlie is going to try and answer to Rex's roads at the moment, as Rex was harvesting on the straight there as well, but he's getting a bit of a time back as they almost make a bit of contact at the moment. And I wonder if Maverick is just holding this train hostage at the moment with Bunty, Cam, Rex and Charlie as well. And if one person makes a mistake, I think it'll allow everyone to try and go for this potential move then, heading towards this apex here as well, which is so easy to run wide, as Charlie has done so on cue, as he's got a 3-second time penalty to his name. I believe he's got Morris Parrott gets one as well. I'll give you an update on penalties. So we've got Old School, Parrott and Maverick on 3. So is Rex, YHYY and RJ. We've got Chill on 6 seconds, and we've got Charlie and Bunty on 9 seconds. Everyone else is on none, with obviously the likes of Tote and Brent on 2 warnings already then, so they could be in danger later on as well. So soft tyres will come into fruition at the end. Will there be a late safety car? We don't know. If there's a late safety car, it may bring back Tope into this race, but Bunty does get past Maverick quite comfortably and up into P7 then as well, because even though some people are out of the championship contention, they may still want to aim for a top 10 position, or to as high as they possibly can as well. So there's positions still to be sorted elsewhere in the championship standing, maybe for their own personal glory. So I think Cam wants to show that he is made of the right stuff for the moment, and again he's still winning this train. Maverick has dropped a ton to Bunty right now, so Bunty is now ahead of his train, as well as Brent too. So I am seeing Brent struggle on the mediums compared to everybody else. So his day is going to be one to forget, and he's got to finish second in order to stay in the championship fight. He's pretty much eliminated, isn't he?
As it stands, yeah, he is pretty much eliminated. Considering he's on the same age of tyre as Old School, he's lost 3 seconds since the safety car restart to Mark, and that is including Mark being overtaken in that safety car and that restart period as well. So Brent's really struggled in this phase of the race on those medium compound tyres. He's completely dropped off the train of cars in front and is now under pressure from the cars behind then. Bunty would have been closer, however Bunty completely missed the apex of turn number 6 that time around and didn't get the car stopped. So Bunty not close enough to challenge down into the chicane, but he is within DRS range.
Brent's in.
Yeah, Brent's in then. So he's the first of those of the 2 stoppers to come in for a second time in this race. You would imagine this will probably be for softs. They can get to the end of the race from here, as Charlie decides to retire in the pit lane before the race is finished, which is a shame to see. And there you go, soft compound tyres for Brent. However, he was a way off the net leaders of this race, so there's not really much Brent can do here. I don't think the undercut's 3 seconds powerful around a track with only, 11 real corners on it. So Brent here potentially not in a good position in this race, and he could be under threat again towards the very end of this race from other drivers. Parrott has lost DRS range to Tope in front as well, when Old School kind of dropping back. So Parrott and Old School at the moment 4th and 5th, kind of in races on their own. As it stands, they've also got penalties, so they're not really any threat to the leaders. And speaking of the leaders, Luke still has not gained any time in Rikurik. He's not losing time anymore, but crucially he's also not gaining anything either.
And Tope's still in this battle as well for second place, because it could be game changing for him as well. But I think Luke's got the straight line speed to keep Tope behind. So Luke's doing a pretty good job at this moment in time with his battery too, but not quite so well compared to Tope. But we'll have to wait and see at the moment, as obviously Tope is not coming in yet, so he thinks those softs won't make it to the end if he pits now. And we are really starting to see the hard tyres coming to fruition, and with Cam gaining a lot of time on his teammate. I wonder if we see another switcheroo, but this time the other way right now as well. We saw Cam do it to Maverick. I wonder if Maverick's going to do exactly the same to Cam. Probably not at this time being, because Maverick is fighting Bunty. I'm sure Maverick wants to get ahead of Bunty before the pit stops. I'm almost certain they'll have to pit again as well. And Bunty was very, very struggling in that corner there compared to Maverick. Maverick doing a lot better right now. This could be a double point scoring finish for Red Bull if he can keep this up. And I don't think he could challenge there for a move unless he's going to be very brave. He's not going for the move right now as well, which strongly alludes to he's probably going to go onto the soft compound tire as well. 3.1 seconds to Leclerc as well. No matter what Leclerc does, he's going to be ahead anyway, so he could pit when he likes, as long as no one else pits at around about the same time. So we'll have to wait and see. I think Leclerc could come in now. Actually, no, Leclerc's not coming in now because he doesn't have to make a stop. But with Luke, he can come in now. There he goes. He's going on to the soft. Tope stays out. Parrott stays out. I thought more people would have followed Luke, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have followed him as well. We've missed it on that lap as well, but somewhere in that lap, Tope has made a mistake because he's dropped 2.5 seconds behind Luke before that pit stop phase. So Tope is obviously starting to struggle a bit on these tyres. I'm surprised Tope has not come in to react to that pit stop from Luke. He's just going to lose more and more time, and is now nearly 6 seconds off the race leader in this race. So he's going to be the best part of 20 seconds off the race leader with multiple cars to overtake in this race. Luke, remember, Luke was second on the road before that pit stop. He comes out 11th on the road, 7 seconds off the back of that train. Of course, some of those drivers in that train may have to stop, but some of the other drivers may not have to stop in this race, of course. People like Marty will not have to stop again in this race, neither will Cam K or YHYY. So there's a few drivers there Luke has to get back through to try and get back to the same position in this race. So it's going to be a fairly difficult phase of this race for Luke in that Aston Martin. We'll see what his pace is like at this point, but yeah, it's going to be really difficult for him to overtake people in this train. We'll see who the next people are to react to that pit stop from the Aston Martin. I doubt Leclerc's going to react. He's got a very comfortable lead, and like you say, doesn't have to stop again and has no penalties. So I think Leclerc, barring any late safety cars, is not really under any threat in this race. Second, third and fourth, though, still not reacting to that pit stop, which is very bizarre. You would have said they would have probably been in as going for it down the inside and towards turn number 1. Down the inside, Tope has nothing to fight with. Parrott's tyres, remember, still 4 laps younger and gets past Tope fairly easily there. Of course, Parrott does have a time penalty, so Tope doesn't have to fight him too hard. But either way, we've still got 9 laps to go in this race, and Tope's pace has fallen off dramatically in recent laps. Yes, he's got a lot of cars behind him that also haven't stopped yet, but now the likes of Bunty, Maverick and Rex and all that are now starting to re-close in on our second and third drivers. And now Luke has just picked up a time penalty as well. That was Bunty having a moment, and he's put it in the wall. So Bunty into the wall then coming out of turn number 7. That now frees up Maverick in 5th position to go after Old School and Tope. The fact that these drivers in this long chain have been fighting for the best part of 20 laps are now starting to close back in on those that are in a net second and third place in this race goes to show that the pace of those that are on the mediums that are staying out has just completely fallen off in recent laps.
Yep, it is, and I'm a bit worried that Leclerc is going to fall under pressure very, very soon as well. The hard runners very soon too, so that could be quite an interesting factor, as well as Rex does get past Maverick up into P5, so the fresher medium tire is definitely helping him a little bit there, heading towards the final corner as well. And YHYY could be on for his best result of the season if he keeps it up as well, but I don't want to jinx things too much as Chill gets another penalty. And to be fair, if there's few people that get no penalties in this race, then fair play to them, because it's very hard to not get time penalties. I've got a few time penalties in my time at Canada, and it's difficult to not get one at this stage as Luke gets past Bunty on those soft tyres. To be honest, you did say it's going to be hard for Luke to get through the field. Well, it may not be hard after all, because he is closing in on the next hard runner of YHYY. So, you know, maybe the 2 stops may be the fastest, but we'll have to wait and see this race go on. He's running out of ERS, so it's Old School does get past Tope. I wonder if Tope has got some underlying damage there, because there's no way Tope would have struggled like that if he didn't have any damage, I think. So, yeah, Tope may have to come in, go on some softs, get some glory runs in, and, well, he's still going to be in a championship fight after tonight, but he's going to lose quite a bit of time, so he's got nothing to lose. As Tope does get past Old School, so I wonder if Old School let Tope through there to have a little bit of a fight there. I'm not that surprised he's done that, because Old School wants a bit of fun as Cam gets his first penalty of the race.
Yeah, first penalty of the race for Camke. That's a real shame because he was looking like he could capitalise on at least 2 drivers in front of him on penalties. So, yeah, a shame for him that he has picked up that penalty. And, yeah, I fully agree. Tope surely has got some sort of underlying damage. We saw him lose a lot of time a few laps ago on the lap that Luke came into the pit lane. Did he hit the wall somewhere on that lap and slightly damage his front wing somewhere? Or did he damage a side pod somewhere? We don't know. But surely Tope has got sort of damage because his pace drop-off in recent laps has been substantial, to say the least. Rekurik now leads by 7.6 seconds. He is on his own in the lead of this race, completely gone from the rest of the field. By the way, Luke has taken 1.2 seconds out of Marty in the first sector alone on this lap. Those soft compound tyres looking much faster than the drivers in front of him. Whether he can get past them is another thing, but they're all fighting very hard at the moment, so that could at least play into their favour. The only problem is that Rex is catching Old School pretty quickly at this point in the race as well, so this train could get longer and longer as Luke not quite within DRS range on this time around. Brent, though, is. Brent, one of only 3 drivers in this field to not have a penalty. Brent then onto the back of Bunty, and this should be a fairly easy move for the AlphaTauri as he moves down the inside of the Alfa Romeo and back into the top 10. Does the AlphaTauri then. Good move for him. He is up another place and looking on for a fairly solid points result considering the penalty situation of all the drivers in front of him then. We've got 6 laps to go in this race. Rekurik still leads, Parrott still in second, Tope in third. Now we've just got to wait to see how quickly and how well Luke can get through this train of cars in front.
And the penalties as well. That could play a massive factor. We won't know where everyone is going to stack up until everyone crosses the checkered flag as well. And I'm surprised we haven't seen a safety car yet. We've got 2 retirements, but I think that'll be pretty much buggered if people have penalties at the moment, and they'll bring back Tope in contention and Brent as well. And Brent really needs to get a P2, which could still happen potentially as well, but he's not catching up in the rate of knots as Luke is as well. So he's definitely out of this as we head towards lap 30. Very soon. We've seen there's 2 Red Bulls working together as well. We only got 2 drivers on 9 seconds worth of penalties at the moment. Actually 3 drivers, of Bunty, Chill and White Chihuahua. We can see Marty having some brilliant pace on these mediums actually, compared to Captain's hard tyres, and Captain is struggling a little bit there, heading towards the final corner. And saying that, Marty's got another penalty, so I spoke to you soon, but he is going to try and get the run on Cam. Is Cam going to fight this? Heading towards turn number 1, down the inside goes Marty then, in towards turn 2, and I think Cam's going to try and go around the outside, the long way around, and keep the outside line, which he does. And look at that, Luke goes around the outside as well in this process as well. So Marty didn't even see Luke, and with Luke's fresher softs, you know, this could be a decent result for him. He's going to get past Cam as well sooner or later. Is he going to try and risk it now? If I was him, I would not risk it now, but he's going to have the DRS coming into this corner. Oh, so they touch a little bit there as well. That was very close indeed. You can see the pace advantage compared from the hards to the softs. It's huge.
Yeah, really big pace advantage, like you're saying. Cam getting caught offline now as he lost to potentially DRS to his teammate in that situation. I think he has. Luke, though, I don't even think is going to wait for the DRS straight. He's going to go down the inside at the turn 10 hairpin, and with the grip he's got on the softs, nothing Cam can do to fight that one. Luke is up into 7th position, and he will have DRS on the back of Maverick as well to close back up to this train in front. By the way, Rex has now caught Old School, so Old School on the oldest set of tyres in the field, along with Tope, is really struggling at this phase of the race, and Rex has closed in very quickly. What was a 3-second gap only a few laps ago is now well within DRS range for the Alpines. So for Rex, considering he had to pit at the end of lap 1 for damage, this has been a very good recovery from the Alpine driver so far. If you can get Old School on the road, that could be a 4th place finish, because no one behind him is within penalty range and has less penalties than him. So looking still good for Rex, potentially for a top 4 in this race, maybe a top 3 if he can get up to Parrott, but Parrott is a little bit maybe too far up the road for that to happen. Now he's just got to keep an eye on Luke's progress past Maverick and Rex at this point in the race. He's got a lot more grip. Whether he's got the pace and the positions to do it, we don't know. He's got a good run coming down towards turn number 8, but the straight again just isn't long enough really for them to be able to do anything, and down towards the braking zone, Luke can't get the move done. Can he going for a move as Rex picks up another penalty? Luke's got a brilliant run on the way down to the turn 10 hairpin. Maverick deciding not to fight it. Luke is down the inside, and that's another move and an unorthodox pace made for the Aston Martin. He is through, and I think Rex and Old School are going to be fairly easy meat for Luke here, because the speed that Old School especially has dropped in recent laps is pretty astronomical. Luke here, with so much more grip, can just overtake in places of the track that no one else can.
I think there's going to be a danger that Luke may run out of tyre day towards the end as well, so it will be something to watch out for as Rex does get past Old School quite comfortably, and I'm sure Luke's going to be easy pickings as well. Old school's going to be easy picking, for Luke. Down the inside goes Luke very easily there, and up into 5th position as well. So at the moment, Luke's in a net P4, which is very, very decent result for him as well, and I think that's the highest he can get at the moment, unless he can get up to Tobe, but I think he's going to hope that Tobe gets a penalty. And speaking of Tobe, I thought he was going to have loads of penalties due to the amount of invalidations he's had in qualifying. He's been on 2 warnings for so long, since pretty much lap 8 and lap 9 of the safety car, and he hasn't had a warning since. So I wonder if Tobe's learned his lesson maybe as well. And he's a reverse psychology, I think, for Tobe at the moment. Every time I say he gets penalties, he doesn't get a penalty, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. So Luke's still in the short of a podium if Tobe gets a penalty. He's still within that train as well, and I wonder if he can stretch to 3 seconds for Tobe potentially. But he's got to get past Rex first into the DRS range. They're both harvesting on the straight then. Oh, careful you two. You don't want to be racing like that. You want to give as much space as you possibly can then into the final corner. This is all allowing Tobe and Parrott just to breathe easy a little bit as well as Luke's squirming in the final corner. I wonder if the pressure is getting to him at the moment, trying to get past these guys as well. You do not want to be fighting Rex too much because you're going to be ahead of him anyway. All you got to do is try and get past pretty much Rex and Parrott, and then you're on the podium. You don't even need to get past Tobe, but Tobe is in between Parrott. So that's going to be a tricky situation as well. But we've 3 more laps to go. Anything can happen, and all this is doing is stretching the gap to Recurrick even more. 10.6 seconds. I wonder, what was the point gap going into this race between Tobe and Recurrick?
Tobe and Recurrick, the gap between them was, I believe, 14 points going into this race. So at the moment, Tobe would still hold on to the championship lead, but not by a lot as it stands.
Okay.
So, yeah, Recurrick doing himself wonders, but Tobe should just hold on to the championship lead as things stand as we get into the latter stages of this race. And just look how much everybody has closed up in this train then. Parrott really struggling in 2nd position. Recurrick's lead now 11 seconds. Recurrick is comfortably and in front and has been unchallenged ever since that pit stop phase of this race. Tobe, I think, is going to go for a move here on Parrott down the straight. Nothing Parrott can do. He's not got the straight line speed to be able to hold on down that straight then. Is anybody going to be able to make a move down in towards turn number 1 maybe? Can someone get the run out of the chicane? I would have thought it had been Luke, but Luke again for the 2nd lap running. Very squirrely through the chicane. Further behind though, Camke getting the move back done past Marty and up into 8th position on those hard compound tyres, so he regains another spot in this race. The only problem for them is now Brent is within their penalty range and closing in fast on this train of cars as well on his older softs. So everybody's starting to close in these different trains as it stands. Luke, though, is kind of stalled out a little bit in this train. He can't seem to find a way through on Rex or Parrott in front, despite the fact that they're on very old tyres. He just can't seem to find a way through. He's struggling a lot in traction zones, and that's costing Luke here big time, isn't it? Because before this, it looked like Luke was on for an easy potential podium. That penalty, though, has completely stumped him.
Don't forget, at the start of the race, the crossover point was pretty much 6 laps. So I wonder if we hit that crossover point and Luke is just struggling on those tyres, and maybe the mediums are the faster tyre right now at the moment. But out of all the tyres, out of the ones on old mediums and old hards, the hards are on the fresh tyre. I think I did see someone get another penalty then as well, which just leaves 3 drivers without a penalty. Rex gonna go for the move then, a last pretty much a 1.5 lap dive into the final corner, which he does not get the move done as Parrott hits the wall. Parrott hits the wall.
Desync, yeah.
Not. Desync. Okay, that was weird. That made me jump there as well. And shame we're having desync problems on this game. Hopefully that does get fixed for the new F122 game as well. But luckily we don't get as many problems here on PS luckily as well. Final lap. Recurrick has gained another second on Tobe. So he doesn't need to push too much as well. The battle is all happening right behind, and I think Luke's just going to have to settle for 5th on the road for the time being, pretty much 4th in terms of penalties. And yeah, I think that's what it's going to be at this stage. Parrott on 3 seconds, Luke on 3 seconds as well, and I think that's what a lot of people are going to manage as well. But Recurrick, he just head past the hairpin, a dominant drive. We thought that he was on the wrong strategy, but the safety car helped him, and he was flawless for the rest of the race.
Yeah, ever since the safety car, flawless run from Recurrick. A brilliant drive from the Haas in what will probably be the biggest winning margin we've seen all season long. But Recurrick out of the final corner. It's another victory for the Haas driver this season and puts him back in the running properly in the championship this time around. Another win to the books then for the Haas drivers. Further down, Luke and Rex go side by side. Luke has managed to get the move done on Rex, but he would have had the move on Rex on penalties anyway. As across the line they come. Taupe holds on to second place ahead of Parrott in third. Maverick and Kamke will get both past Rex as well on penalties. As further down, Brent gets past Rex. So Rex dropping all the way down to 8th in the end with that time penalty. Then final few drivers coming across the line. Chill on those hard compound tyres completely on his own ends up 11th, and White Hawaii will get the final point in 12th position. With that finish as well, in fact, RJ does get the final point, but even with that, I think the fact that Taupe finished second in that race potentially means, with a 38-point difference going into this race, needing 53 points gaps, 17-point difference between Taupe and RJ, I believe we can officially say RJ and Brent are now out of the championship running.
Yes, I will check the permutations, because luckily Cam has sent some permutations earlier on as well, but I'm sure Taupe will be a little bit disappointed, but he'll still be very happy that he's still managing to get consistent as well at the moment. So I'm trying to remember. So Taupe finished, was it second or third? I think it was second. So Brent is eliminated. RJ must finish 8th or 9th if Taupe finishes second. So where did RJ finish? 12th. Yeah, he's out of the fight. So it's between Taupe, Luke, and
Recuric, yeah.
Recuric.
Yeah, that is it then. That is the championship 3 now then. So we've narrowed it down in one round from 5 championship protagonists down to 3 for the final 2 rounds of the season. And it's only his second win of the season, I believe, in fact, which is crazy to think, but it's been such a consistent season. It's another win for Recuric in this one then. Taupe on the podium, his 5th top 5 finish in a row, and it comes in very unorthodox ways, and ways that we didn't think would potentially happen, because he struggled for pace a lot during that race. But either way, a brilliant performance from Taupe to hold on to second, and Parrott getting his first podium of the season as well in the Ferrari. Good result from him. Luke yet again inside the top 4. He always manages to find his way inside the top 4, and he gets fastest lap as well. So while his 2 championship rivals get first and second, it's not as bad of a day as it could have been for Luke. He still managed to pick up solid points and as well within the fight for this championship. Then Maverick and Kamke make it 5th, 5 and 6 for Red Bull. I think one of their only double points finishes this season, potentially, for them. Brent in 7th ahead of Rex, Old School, Marty, Chill and RJ, your point scorers. White Hawaii, Matt, Bunty, Charlie and Darry are those that finished outside of the points. Charlie and Darry not finishing the race at all. And yeah, everybody getting penalties in that race, bar the top 2 and Brent in the end. And like you said, after that safety car period, Recuric, completely untouchable.
Yeah, I have to say, Recuric has probably saved his bacon there for the championship fight, not gonna lie as well, which is going to be exciting. And I think from a neutral perspective, I'm hoping that Recuric could do the same going into Brazil next week. I really do hope. He has the pace, he has the courage as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We are going to try and speak to the top 3 in the interviews, because we do have time this week, luckily. So compared to last week where we had literally no time at all. But there we go. So we'll try and add these guys to the party very soon. And whilst we do that, make sure you do subscribe to the LOE YouTube channel as well. And we're on a decent amount of subscribers as well, so make sure you check it out. But driver of the day has got to be Recuric there.
Yeah, definitely. I've got to agree with that one. Driver of the day definitely has got to be Recuric, like you say. Brilliant performance from him, completely untouchable ever since that safety car period. Great. I say great recovery. It's not really a recovery drive, but it's a great salvage job, you've got to say, for Taupe, considering the strategy he was on. He ended up only doing a 1-stop in that race, and he took those medium compound tyres, I believe 26, 27 laps into that race, which is a very, very long distance on those mediums. They were dead by the end, but he managed to hold on for another top 2 finish, and he continues what's been an incredibly consistent season for the Williams driver. Luke, then, we'll speak a little bit about the championship. Luke's obviously not going to be in this party. He didn't finish on the podium today. For Luke, it's not the end of the world. He's still finished in the top 4, so it's a solid result. But he's now going to have to probably win at Brazil next time to keep himself in the running into Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, but he did win in Hungary out of some very interesting circumstances as well. And to be honest, we thought he was going to be out last week, and he saved his bacon there as well. So there has been miracles in the past, and maybe he can perform a miracle next week. Who knows as well. And there's always a track where there is quite a lot of overtakes that can happen as well, which we'll talk about obviously next week. And we do know Luke in the past has done very well there as well, but there are certain drivers that may not do as well, may affect the championship fight in a way as well. And with Williams, doing well with Tope as well. Maybe that's saved their bacon in the constructors as well. We'll have to wait and see. And I've just invited the top three to the party. I think one of them I couldn't add due to the settings, unfortunately. I think it was Recurric I couldn't add, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. But I've got Tope and Parrot added, so we'll see their thoughts as well. But I couldn't add Recurric, unfortunately, which was weird.
Yeah, that is a real shame. That is a little bit weird that we won't be able to speak to our race winner, sadly. But hopefully we get the other two in to the champion into the party, so we can have a chat with them and see how their races went. Just by the way, 2 rounds to go in this championship. Brazil this time next week, and then Abu Dhabi in 2 weeks' time. Rounds off the championship. This championship has absolutely flown by, I think, to say the least. It's gone by in a flash. So many things have happened this season. As in fact, Recurric actually has been able to join the party, which is great to see. So our race winner then is in the party. So let's have a chat with the Finnish driver. Only your second win of the season, which is crazy to think, Recurric. I feel like you've won way more times than that, but that's not actually been the case. It's been such a consistent season from yourself. But ever since that safety car came in, looked completely untouchable. How was that from your side of things?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't really listen. I was getting a beer, sorry.
That's fine. That's
a good reason.
A good reason, yeah, celebratory beer. What I was saying before that actually was that it's only your second win of the season, which is bizarre to think. We feel like you've won way more times this season. That's not been the case, but just such a consistent season for yourself, and it gets even better now with the second win of the season. How was that race from your side of things?
It was perfect. I think it was the best race I've ever done in a league race. The qualifying, I messed up. I went in practice. I think I did an 8.3. And I managed to do 8.8, so I was disappointed, but I was second still, which was good, and I got a good launch, just managed the first stint, and then the safety car was just perfect timing. I was gonna come in to the pits anyway, so lap 11, but it was perfect. I could maintain my lead, and then I saw Top was there. I could get the 1 second gap before DRS came, and then Luke passed him, and I knew Luke had to still go to the pit, so then it was just about cruising and not making mistakes.
Yeah, just then, like you say, about cruising, not making mistakes, and we know you're an incredibly consistent driver. You've not really made a mistake at pretty much any point this season. 2 rounds to go. You're not back in the lead of the championship. Tope finishing in second does save his championship lead, but it puts you a lot closer now to Tope in the championship. How are you feeling moving forward to Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and what's your plan for the final 2 races? Are you going to be practicing like mad, or are you just going to go into it as you have been all season?
Just practice like I have this, all season, but in Brazil I know it's a little bit more towards bad drivers, better, but I obviously want to beat Tope so I can be in the lead or even closer, but if I'm not in the lead, minimum 10 points gap to the final race, so there's all to play for.
Yeah, like I say, there'll be all to play for going into Abu Dhabi. Anything you'd like to ask, Jess?
Well, you pretty much asked all the questions I was going to ask there. Well, congratulations on your win there as well. You looked very dominant as well. But I actually do have a question to ask. Without that safety car, do you think you would have still gone for the victory with everyone else having to make one more stop? Or would you probably would have fought for second or third place or whatever?
I thought that many guys stopped early. I was pretty sure they were on a 2-stop strategy. And I knew I was going to come behind them anyways if the safety car didn't come, so I was just always going to do the 1-stop and just do my race and see where it gets me. I wasn't worried about it at all.
Okay, that is my question for him.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, well, congratulations, Recurric, on your second win this season. Enjoy the beer, and we'll see. Hope we'll potentially see you in this booth once again this time next week at Brazil. But yeah, congratulations. Tope will not be joining us by the looks of things, unfortunately, for this. So we'll move on to our third place finisher and his first podium of the season. Only raced twice before in this race and in this championship, and his other 2 performances, his best result was 6th. So podium for the first time in LOE, only 3 rounds in. Pretty stoked you must be for that one, Parrot.
Yo. Yeah, I'm really happy with the pole position at P3, as I didn't practice this way, so I didn't expect that.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect it, like you say, not putting in a ton of practice for this race in the end. And the strategy for you, I'll kind of steal Jess's question, I shall. Before that safety car, by the looks of things, it was potentially a 2-stop race for yourself, or were you considering the 1-stop strategy? Which one did you prefer going into this one?
I was sparking with Bounty, so I didn't know the strategy, so I asked him, and he said one stop, so I was going for the one stop, and I want to make a pit stop in lap 13 or something, and then making the one stop to the end.
Yeah, so obviously the safety car helping you out in that sense with a little bit of an earlier pit stop. Great battle as well at the end of the race for you with the likes of Tope and Luke and Rex at the very end of the race. Was there a worry that you could potentially lose the podium at the very end, or were you confident in holding on to that podium position?
It was a big mix because one driver was going AI on a few times this way, so I'm not sure if he can get a penalty because I lost a lot of time in the hairpin. And I saw Eddie Top left. A driver on fresh softs catching me and then just finished 1 tenth ahead of him. So I was a bit scared, but maybe he can get a penalty. The guy who was on AI, so yeah.
Yeah, so potentially more on the board for you there in that sense as well, if that is the case. Jess, anything you'd like to ask?
Well, heading into the final 2 rounds, we've got Brazil first in Abu Dhabi. What would you say is one of your strongest tracks to get a good result in? Because you don't have long to the end of the season and you already had an impressive showing tonight. Do you think you can carry on those impressive showings in the final 2 rounds?
I'm not sure. My consistency is really mixed on wheels, so yeah, I think Abu Dhabi will be the best track of the last 2 races, but we will see.
Okay, that's my questions for Parrot.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Parrot, for joining us once again. And yeah, congratulations on your first podium this season. Hopefully not your last as well. We shall wait and see. But yeah, congratulations and enjoy that one. Yeah, that is everybody that's coming into the party today. So before we finish off, Jess, anything you'd like to add before we go on to the final 2 rounds of the championship?
Well, I'd just like to say good luck to the top 3 in the championship as well. It's going to get absolutely spicy, and I can't call it at the moment. I thought it was going to be Topes for the picking, but with Bukeric's performance tonight, it can be anyone in the top 3, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Definitely going to be really exciting. And just a reminder to everybody, it's whittled down from a top 5 to a top 3 in the championship. RJ and Brent have lost out in championship potential this time out, so they will be fighting for the remaining places in this championship, not fighting for the title itself. So we will be back this time next week, 6:30 on Saturday for round number 16, the penultimate round of the season taking place at Brazil. Brazil finally not the final track of the season for once. It's a little bit of a change up in the calendar. Of course, we'll be live once again on this channel as well in about 15 minutes time for divisions 2 and 5, and you can go back and watch divisions 1 and 4 and the stream again. The divisions 1 and 4 took place at the same time as us. But for myself and Jess, it is thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll see you in a week's time for round 16 at Brazil. Thank you very much and goodbye.